I have been living in this automated house for a number of years now, but I've recently come across a number of new products which have been significantly improved over old devices I've been using. And if you want to learn more about my dastardly clever automation that actually keeps my kids in bed, you know, when they go through those phases where they want to get out of bed every 5 minutes, then you'll want to stick around. Now, the first major change isn't a specific product, but it is the underlying technology, and it's called Matter. Now, before Matter existed, I was mostly using Z-Wave devices, except the only problem with this technology is that it can only really talk to one system, which for someone who has Apple devices and, you know, Apple Smart Home and Google devices and Google Smart Home. I also run Home Assistant, which is a whole other story for another day, which helps me run some more complicated automations in the home. So the reason why I'm switching all of my home devices to Matter devices is because this technology allows me to add them into Apple Home, Google Home, and Home Assistant, be able to control them, and for them to update their status to the other systems, which is just something that Z-Wave can't do. So first on the upgrade list were the various LED strips I have around the house. And I have a lot of them on the stairs, in my kids' bedrooms, in our bedroom, in the kitchen, and of course in my studio because there is just tons of LED lights around here. Now, firstly, I replaced my Philips Hue LED strip that's been behind me on the back of my desk for absolute years now with the Govee M1 LED light strip. And just look at the difference between the two. Now, this is mostly because the Govee has literally double the number of LEDs on a single strip to what the Philips Hue has. So the Govee M1 is massively brighter, the colors are far more saturated, and now I can control the colors on each section of the strip, which is again something that the Philips Hue strip couldn't even do. Now, because they were so bright, I also had an idea to run them around the top of my skirting boards, and now they work as great like ambient lighting in my room, as well as giving me this cool cinema effect where they'll automatically dim when I start watching a movie on my TV, which is again really, really cool. And thirdly, with the help of my dad, because I'm not good at DIY stuff, we were able to cut one of these strips in half and then solder on these extension cables. So now I can run one strip across 2 shelves behind me. Instead of having 2 plug sockets, 2 LED strips, now I have just 1 socket and 1 strip. And also not forgetting that these strips are already cheaper than Philips Hue as well. But the magic doesn't stop there, because if you have other Govee products, you can link them all together to give you such a cool experience. Now I have the Govee T2 TV backlight. I also have a couple of Lyra floor lamps, I think they're called. Now this feature is called Dream View, and using the Govee app, I can link all of these lights together and position them at roughly where they are in the room to make anything that I'm watching on the TV. Oh, it looks incredible. It looks so cool. Now, the only downside is that only the M1 LED strip is Matter compatible right now as I'm making this video, but I really, really hope they bring it onto other products as well. Now, the next one, which has been a real game changer to me, and I really do mean game changer when it comes to like home automation, is the Aqara FP2 presence sensor. Now, these are quite expensive, but damn, they are so cool. And they have replaced nearly all of the motion sensors in my house. Now, the FP2 doesn't support Matter directly, but it does via the separate hub that you can get. And these things, like these beautiful things, allow you to actually track presence, not motion. Like, key differences here. Presence detection means it can detect when a person is in the room. Presence detection means it can detect where a person is in the room. Like, presence detection means that even when you're sat on the sofa watching a movie, like barely moving, it still knows you're there. So all those like clever automations which, you know, turn off the light after you've left the room when you haven't actually left the room, they actually work. Now these are so cool. So I can use these sensors to make the house follow me as I and, you know, others move around the home, like sit down on the sofa, the lights come on along with the TV, the Xbox, maybe the blinds can be lowered and the lights behind me can dim. Or if I sit at my desk, the TV side of the room switches off, but the desk lights up and music starts playing. There's just so much you can do. They are so flipping cool. And I just want to buy more of them to put all around my house. They are so fun. Now, next on the list are a few products from Eve Energy. Now, firstly, I ditched all of my crappy, cheap Z-Wave power sockets and replaced them with these Matter smart plugs. So once again, from Google, from Apple, Home Assistant, I can remotely switch on or off devices around the home. But I also have solar panels and battery storage, electric car, and my energy provider gives me a cheap rate for electricity overnight. So using these Eve plugs, whenever my energy rate goes cheap, or whenever it's, say a sunny day and my home and my car battery is full, I can switch on these plugs all around the home to charge, various devices. I've got a whole rack full of charging devices here with batteries and stuff on them. And if that's not enough, I can also switch on my Samsung air conditioning unit in this room as a way just to soak up the extra electricity. Because for me, at least here in the UK, it is far more valuable for me to use the electricity than to send it back to the grid where we just get paid next to nothing for it. But the next automation is one that I am quite proud about, because those of you with kids will all know the struggles when it comes to getting your kids to sleep. And there are always phases they go through where they will keep just getting out of bed every night. And whether you agree with using technology or not, like throwing an iPad in front of a child when you're trying to get through just like 30 minutes of being able to eat a meal in peace, it's just one of those things that just inevitably happens. And so I came across one here that I just have to share with you. So my kids are scared of the dark. And so instead of having a night light, I used an Eve LED light strip so we can change the color and dim them when we need to. But you can also pair this up with either a door sensor or one of their Matter enabled motion sensors, which just gets cleverly positioned facing the door. And so what you do is the LED strip starts off at say 15% every single night. And each time they get out of bed and each time they open the door, the LED strip dims by 1%. The kids learn very, very quickly that getting out of bed and opening that door results in their light dimming until the point where the light is just totally switched off. Now, I'm not saying you should use technology to punish your kids, but this stopped one of our kids getting out of bed in a matter of days. So do with that what you wish. Now, one more Eve product. This isn't sponsored by Eve, by the way. I just haven't found any better products. But I've been using the Eve Aqua, I think it's called, to control the garden hose over this very, very brief summer we've got in the UK here. Now, before this, I was using a HoseLock version, which only worked within HoseLock's own app. But again, with this, I can add this into my home. And the thing I love about this is that when you switch it on, there is an auto shut off timer enabled by default. So when I fill my hot tub up, first world problem, I know, I can get it to automatically shut off so I don't risk forgetting about it and then like flooding my garden. Has happened once before. You could also use this to hook into an irrigation system to water your plants every day. You could even hook it up so it only waters when it's needed, so being able to actually check if it's rained recently. Absolutely love that one. But my current favorite products that I bought recently are these outdoor permanent lights, once again from Govee. And I think I actually need to buy another pack, maybe even 2 packs. But these are designed to go on the outside of your house all year round. And because you can control the individual LEDs on the strip, it gives you the flexibility to go, pretty much as plain or as bold as you wish. Now, we actually left our old Christmas lights up in the back garden for, when we're out in the hot tub or we've got friends over. But I've just run a short section of these Govee lights across the same area now. And they look so, so cool. Again, you can control the colors. There are tons of patterns you can choose from for like festive, Halloween, pumpkins, Christmas, night sky, all those kind of things. But we've also got some outdoor floodlights, which we mounted along the edge of our garden. And you can link them all up together and just make them look really, really cool. And of course, for the time of year when you don't want your house to look like a literal Christmas tree or 24/7 disco, you can just use the individual LEDs as, say spotlights on the corner of your house to give it a much more classier look. Now, the only problem I have here is that where the strips are white and my house is brown, I just wish the lights came in a darker color. I think perhaps even black would work better. I think I'm just going to paint over the rest of the strips I have before actually mounting them onto the rest of the house. And you only get a pretty short extension lead in the box, whereas I actually need perhaps 2 or maybe even 3 of these to get from, say, the back of my house to the front. This is just so you don't have any LEDs. It just extends the actual LED strips. Or the other option is to just run the lights directly around the sides of the house, but then I'm going to need at least another box, again, maybe even 2 boxes to do the whole house. But if you want lights that you can fit once, but use all year round, then you cannot go wrong with a set of those. Again, they look so, so cool. Now, let me know which product was your favorite in the comments down below. Whilst you're there, consider subscribing to the channel for more, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, bye-bye.